Well, hello there and welcome. Welcome, welcome. We appreciate everyone being here today. I'm Angie Ross. I'm with the Northern Lakes Economic Alliance, so we're glad you could make it. We wanted to share our appreciation with Jen and the Manufacturing Growth Alliance. Putting this event together and making that possible for everyone is exciting, and we of course like to always keep this type of communication out there. So you businesses, you know, our region is a strong one, and you are a very important part of that. You're important to our communities, and we, of course, want to be here to offer you all the resources that are available. We want to keep you here, keep you succeeding, and we all know we're going through some tough things, some challenges with talent or supply chain issues, but we also know that there's things we can work through to help with in other ways. So Industry 4.0, the discussion today involving all the partners here on this call will help you to learn about updated technologies, updated processes to help you work through this, to stay competitive and keep on keeping on, if you will. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Keep in touch with Northern Lakes and with all the partners here if you want to start thinking about putting this into the, getting into this process. There's definitely next steps you can take after today to implement this in your workplace. So next we'll have Jen say hello from the Manufacturing Growth Alliance.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Jennifer DeMudd, and I am with the Manufacturing Growth Alliance. Our mission is to support small manufacturers across the state. So thank you again for being part of our conversation today. Many of you know that digital technologies are impacting all manufacturers in Michigan, and other states across the globe. And the pandemic has accelerated the need for small to medium manufacturers to adopt digital technologies in order to solve their workforce problems, to increase efficiencies, and really to be competitive in the marketplace. We have a full agenda for you today. We'll hear from a number of organizations who are paving the path for manufacturers to become equipped to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. Our presenters will present for about 40 to 45 minutes. There's ample time for Q&A at the end of our conversation. And you can also add any questions you would like in the Q&A as we navigate through our conversations today. As you probably noted, we are recording the conversation to make the presentation available to small to medium manufacturers in Northern Michigan. So with that, we are, here's the agenda. You can see we have robust agenda that's going to talk about statewide resources as well as regional resources that are available to you. To kick off our conversation today, we're going to talk about Michigan's Industry 4.0 initiative. And Natalie Chimico with the MEDC is going to share some information with you. And thank you so much, Natalie, for being here.
Thank you, Jen. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for having me. So today I'm here to discuss an exciting initiative that was launched last year to support Michigan's small and medium-sized manufacturers to be ready to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. You can go to the next slide. So as you already know, around the globe, Michigan is synonymous with manufacturing. But in order for Michigan to remain competitive and successful in the future of manufacturing, we have to be the most advanced and productive and position our workforce and our companies to be at the forefront of technology. So during our statewide economic development strategic plan process back in 2019, we recognized that we need to prepare our small and medium-sized manufacturers for this digital transformation that's already underway. And since the pandemic, this has really only accelerated the need for this digital transformation. Next slide. You'll see in a moment on the slide.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Well, there we go.
Okay. So in this national study that's shown here. So only 12% of small and medium-sized manufacturers said that they were very prepared to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies, with the remaining saying that they're somewhat prepared or a little prepared or not prepared at all. So this really presents a big problem when it comes to the future of our manufacturing industry and our workforce across the state. So this convergence of the digital and the physical technologies, it all requires a new way of thinking and working. And really, if we don't prepare for the onset of Industry 4.0 today, here in Michigan, it represents 42% of our current labor force that could be impacted by this change. Next slide. So really, to address this potential risk, we've established a 5-year effort to support businesses along their digital transformation journey. So our ambitious goal is to ensure 50% of all Michigan manufacturers, or 6,200 businesses, will be prepared to adopt Industry 4.0 technologies by 2025. Next slide. So in order to support manufacturers statewide, we've really built upon relationships and partnerships that we've had with 2 existing leaders in the state to provide support services no matter where a company is on their journey to become Industry 4.0 ready. So today you'll hear from 2 of those leaders on today's discussion, but just wanted to highlight our partnership with Automation Alley is really all about awareness. And Automation Alley is the Industry 4.0 Knowledge Center for the state of Michigan, and really helping companies understand what this shift means for their business and their culture. And because of this enhanced partnership, all Michigan manufacturers have access to their education, their leadership evaluation, and resources through their free essential membership. And then to complement the work from Automation Alley, the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, they're providing in-depth technology assessments for small and medium-sized manufacturers. So recommending the Industry 4.0 technologies that will be best suited for profitability, job retention, and growth for that unique business. Additionally, they're providing the opportunity for companies to see technologies firsthand through their roadshows and their trainings. Next slide. So in addition to the partnership with Automation Alley and MMTC, the state recognized that we need to have kind of more regional programming and initiatives to complement these statewide services. So these regional partners shown here are providing education, pilot grants, events, and webinars, increasing the overall awareness and preparedness of the different regions of the state. Next slide. So I mentioned we've kind of been doing this for a year now. I wanted to share a little bit about the progress thus far. So we launched 1 year ago, and we've already supported over 1,400 businesses with them participating in events like these, taking advantage of our trainings, our Industry 4.0 assessments, and more. Next slide. So we really have a long way to go, but I just want to emphasize that we are here to support your business and really give you the tools you need to succeed in the future of manufacturing. Next slide. So really, for more information about this initiative, we have a landing page, michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. And next, I think I will turn it over to John Betts at Automation Alley to talk more about Industry 4.0 and what it means.
Program manager for Automation Alley. I also help run the Industry 4.0 Accelerator program in partnership with Lawrence Tech and the Centropolis Accelerator in Southfield and the Lean Rocket Lab in Jackson, Michigan. And like Natalie was saying, these technologies are enabling digital technologies to change physical manufacturing, which is a very important thing for Industry 4.0 adoption. In that accelerator, what we're able to do is to provide some funding to these tech companies, and we set up a web portal for them to apply to us. And we've gotten over 400 applications from around the world of companies that say they have a unique technology for Industry 4.0 manufacturing. like with any kind of endeavor like that, a lot of those aren't the right fit. But we've winnowed down to the really, really relevant ones that are more in about the 75 range of actual companies. And we've made investments in 3 of them, and we've probably got about 25 to 30 of them that we're keeping a close eye on. And so what those companies thus far, their expertise has been in part inspection and artificial intelligence that is enabling that quality improvement for those technologies. So the accelerator then provides these companies a platform. We make introductions to Michigan manufacturers that have interest in the capabilities that they're bringing online. And through the other regional grants that the MEDC has awarded, we've got 2 regional partners that have demo funds that they can provide for manufacturers to help offset the cost of a pilot program with these technologies, implementing these technologies. I recently was able to go out to Jackson, Michigan, to a company called Melling, who is working with one of our portfolio companies called UnitX. And they've got a part inspection process that's enabled by AI that goes down to 2 microns, and it takes about 1,000 pictures of a part and then compares them and learns what a good part is and what a fractured part is or an unacceptable part is. And it helps the company as they inspect their parts that they're making for GM engines right now. And what's great about that, and the success story that we're going to be telling about that, is the company applied for a grant through this MEDC funded program for the demo fund, helped offset the analysis and whether or not this is right for them to use that technology. And what they're able to do, or what they're going to do once they install this, is they think they're going to be able to redeploy 2 employees that were working in part inspection to a different part of their manufacturing operation, thereby reducing their HR drought that we're all in right now. And they're going to be able to get their inspection process to be improved by utilizing this new technology. And the biggest thing that they have with part inspection and humans doing that is that the errors increase the longer the human works on it. So you really only get a year or 2 out of an employee working that kind of job before their eyes start to fade just a little bit and they start making more mistakes. These systems don't make these kind of mistakes, which is fantastic. And so from end to end, I think the implementation of that is going to be about $40,000, and they're going to free up 2 employees to work elsewhere. So this is a cost saving to the company, which is fantastic all around, and they're going to get better output from what they're doing. And like I said, they're going to reduce they just eliminated 2 of the job openings that they had by using their existing workforce to get the work done. But that was one thing about the accelerator. But Automation Alley in general is the knowledge center for the MEDC in the state of Michigan on Industry 4.0. So what we've got is tons of content that we're able to provide for everybody on what these technologies are, how they're changing manufacturing, and what you'll be able to do with them moving forward. And what we're hoping to set up for all of our Michigan members is when you see something either off on your own or through our platforms that we put out there, if you have an interest in any of those kind of technologies, just go ahead and reach out to us, and then we'll give you some samples of what we're talking about, and then you can make the determination yourself. Or even better, you can work with the MMTC to see if that's the right technology for you, and then we can help put those pieces together for you so that you can consider them. We do have a couple of things coming up, and I'll put in the chat information about them. One of them is going to be our Global Outlook for Business, which is coming up in January. And I'll send the information out for that. And the other one is our Integrate Conference, which is going to be held on May 10th, 2022 in Novi, Michigan. And every manufacturer in Michigan can get a complimentary ticket. Thanks to the MEDC to come join us to learn on that day everything great that's going on with this Industry 4.0 initiative by the state as we go into what will at that point be the beginning of year 2 of this multi-year effort. So kind of zip through that. And if there are any questions, great. If not, we can turn it back over to Jen for the next speaker.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate you being here. And we're going to bring you back up here in just a little bit to talk specifically about the leadership evaluations. But for now, I'd like to introduce Betsy Williams. She is with MMTC, and she's going to talk a bit about the technology assessments that are available statewide through the Industry 4.0 initiative. Betsy?
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. So great to be here today. We're very excited at the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center to be a part of this great initiative with Industry 4.0. And Jen, if we can get that first slide, that would be wonderful.
Actually, Betsy, we don't have slides for you.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
We're just going to have you share.
Oh, that's awesome. I can even just talk. I'll just do what I will follow John's lead. There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. I am with the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center out of the Northern Lower office in Traverse City, Michigan. We have 5 offices throughout the state of Michigan to assist small to medium-sized manufacturers. And today I really wanted to talk about this great program with our assessments that we can do. It's a technology assessment that we come on site and work with you and have an opportunity it's twofold. Number one, there is an information gathering piece of this assessment where you answer 40 questions. And that gives us information so that we can come on site and really see where you are and with technology and make some recommendations. And really what we have found out by talking to the manufacturing community is where the value is, because your time is very important. So for you to be able to take this assessment and then spend 2 hours with us on site, what is the value for you? Well, we're really finding that we can come up with exposure and awareness of where technology can be used within your organization. And it's really sort of that first, everyone's in a different journey when it comes to technology. And also examine all of the different ways that you could be using technology, and we just walk you through that. And then really recognize and confirm where there could be gaps and where you could use technology in your business. So all of these different things come together when we come on site with you to really understand where you are within technology. You know, when you think about Industry 4.0, and I think one of the things, it's a lot to take on, and we try to make it, simplify it by working with Automation Alley, by working with other partners as well, like NLEA. You know, where are you within your journey? How can you, first of all, just sort of take a snapshot of where you are and what are those next steps? So that's what we're all about, is helping you within that journey. And we're very excited to be right here in Northern Michigan and working with so many of the great people that are on the call today. So I'll turn things back over, I think, to John. Do you want to talk a little bit more about some other programming?
Oops, I was muted there. Sure, thank you so much. The other piece to mention is the leadership assessment that Automation Alley does. And this is a little bit different than the assessment that the MMTC does. Where theirs goes into a company's processes and their manufacturing efforts and the tools they use and efficiency and things like that. It's very, very much an engineering review. Ours is a leadership evaluation. And what we do is we can work with just one, maybe even 2 people from a team, from a company, that they can go through and answer these questions. And what we learned from that is where you stack up against others in your regions, others in the state, and kind of the big meaty part of other organizations. So what we're hoping to achieve with this is to get a software mentality to the company where they're thinking not like traditional manufacturers or business leaders, but thinking like a software company that's making minor changes and smaller ideas coming through, and option like bets on different technologies to see what can work, because the barrier of entry has been lowered, and that will allow you to go in and see, well, let's see if this works, and if it doesn't work, we'll switch to something else. So what it is just to kind of give a snapshot of the leadership team and the goals of the company, and whether or not their journey with Industry 4.0 is going to be an easy one, or if maybe there are some shorter steps to take to get to prepare for that full-on implementation. It doesn't take very long, unlike some of the other work that the MNTC does with the companies. This is I don't want to put minutes on anything, but it's usually less than an hour that a person can go through this leadership evaluation, and the results come back rather quickly. But what it does do, it gets you thinking along these lines, and it gets a dialogue started with us to where we can then start seeing what it is that you need, what we can work with the MMTC and the MEDC on helping you with. And that was it, Jen. You can take me back down.
Fantastic. Thank you, John and Betsy. Really appreciate all of that insight. Next, I'd like to introduce Stephanie Ludwig. She is with the Economic Growth Institute, and she's going to share a bit about the regional program specifically for Northeast Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. Stephanie? And you do have slides.
Okay, excellent. I was hoping that we had some slides.
Yes, so I'm just going to transition.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. I am Stephanie Ludwig. I'm a project manager at the Economic Growth Institute, or EGI, at the University of Michigan. And EGI has been working with small to medium-sized manufacturers across the state of Michigan for more than 35 years. And we are really excited to be here today, partnering with MGA on one of the regional Industry 4.0 efforts that Natalie mentioned earlier to support the small to medium-sized manufacturers in northern Michigan in increasing the awareness and preparedness for Industry 4.0. So through a series of activities, including educational webinars, company analysis, and technical assistance projects, MGA and EGI will work to ensure manufacturers in northern Michigan have the foundational and practical knowledge to move forward with implementing elements of Industry 4.0 to ensure that they remain competitive in the years to come. And in all of our years running programs to support small to medium-sized manufacturers, we know that what gets your attention the most is when there is funding available to help you, or if the program is free. So in our regional program, we will qualify a limited number of companies with high potential projects for a $10,000 grant in matching funds towards the implementation of identified Industry 4.0 projects. So next slide, please. So next, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about what activities we will be running in this regional program that can help you prepare to best utilize that $10,000. Next slide. So first, through a series of educational webinars and on-demand series that we currently have available on the MGA website, we will look to, go back one slide, Jen. We will look to introduce you to all the Industry 4.0 technologies that we have seen many of our manufacturing clients successfully implement and prove effective. Through these, you will hear about real-world applications from manufacturers, just like yourself, and be connected to resources to support next steps in evaluating if these technologies could be the resources you are looking for to address a current need or to set your company apart from its competition. So after you get a chance to listen to these educational webinars, you might find yourself asking, how do I know if my company is ready to implement some of these technologies? So in phase 2 of the MGA-EGI regional partnership, EGI will conduct a top-down analysis of your company. So of course, after signing a non-disclosure agreement to ensure your company's information is protected and excluded from the Freedom of Information Act, we will conduct a detailed financial analysis of your company, including a ratio analysis and company valuation. So if you've ever wondered, what is your company, what would your company be valued at in today's market? EGI's analysis will not only help you better understand its value, but its analysis will allow us to see into your company's stability and strength and financial aptitude to determine if you are really able to handle and integrate the new technology. And for companies that have financial stability and aptitude, EGI will then conduct an operational analysis to further evaluate other areas of their business that's critical to this technology integration. We will look at leadership, sales, planning, marketing, people while touring your facility. And the best part of this is that both that financial and operational analysis are done at no cost to you and with very minimal time commitment. As we know, we are short-staffed and working on our businesses. So from here, our output is phase 2 is a leveled set of recommendations to increase your company's value and some recommendations for those high leverage points of Industry 4.0 adoption that will be recommended as implementation projects for you to use that $10,000 on. So next slide. So to implement the high leverage point Industry 4.0 projects, our team will find the best resources for you to implement this project and will project manage its implementation alongside your team. So if you are interested in qualifying for that $10,000, please contact us to talk about what those next steps look like. And with that, we are looking forward to engaging with you in this information session today at the end with any questions and in the near future. And I'm going to turn this over to Dave Emmel from NLEA, who will talk about regional partnerships.
Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate your presentation, and John and Betsy. I'm Dave Emmel. I'm president of the Northern Lakes Economic Alliance, and we're one of the partner organizations supporting Industry 4.0 initiatives in Northern Michigan. There are a number of organizations in Northern Michigan. If you're east of I-75 or west of I-75, there are a number of doorways and pathways for you to enter into this. If you're west of I-75, the lead partner organization is Network Northwest, and within that, and kind of under their Northwest Industry 4.0 consortium, there are a number of organizations like our organization, for one, but others like Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce, Grand Traverse Area Manufacturing Council, Northwestern Michigan College, Traverse Connect. Every economic development organization in Northeast and Northwest Michigan is a doorway for you to access Industry 4.0 resources. On the Northeast side, the Manufacturing Growth Alliance is the primary partner, kind of leading that consortium. Organizations like ours, the Northern Lakes Economic Alliance, SEGO, Economic Alliance, Target Alpena, there are virtually a number of doorways for you to access. So I would encourage all of you to engage in that. Also, in Northern Michigan, we have a really incredible resource through the MEDC. Our business development manager, Jesse Mitchell, is also an excellent point of contact to gain access to Industry 4.0 resources, along with the Small Business Development Centers of Michigan. Again, the MMTC, Automation Alley. There are too many doors to mention, but really no wrong door. And we're really excited to bring this program to Northern Michigan to work with our small to medium manufacturers. We know that as we talk to manufacturers in our role as an economic development organization, we know that a lot of our manufacturers are having a lot of success, more success than they probably imagined through COVID. And as we're kind of coming out of this pandemic, we have challenges, and others have mentioned that, challenges of workforce, people who have left the workforce. We always run up against the challenge of automation in industries and the paradigm or the general sense that this replaces individuals. And the reality is many of our employers are very short-staffed. The challenge of attraction for new workforce to Northern Michigan has a lot of barriers. And this is one of the ways that organizations can continue to grow in a challenging economic time. So I would encourage everyone to access Industry 4.0 resources by contacting your local economic development organization, again, the MEDC, or any of the partners who are on the call today. So thanks. And who am I turning it back over to? Jen DeMudd.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to start my video back here. All right. So I get to share with you a few ideas for next steps for you. First, we encourage you to take advantage of those statewide resources. That's through MMTC and Automation Alley. The technology opportunity assessments are so valuable, as well as that leadership evaluation. Another opportunity for you for next step is obviously to connect with NLEA. They're a hub in the region to support your efforts to advance with digital technologies, with business resources. So that's a great next step. Third next step, you can access Industry 4.0 education that Stephanie spoke about on mgalliance.org/Industry 4.0. All of the webinars that we've recorded over the past probably 4 to 5 months, you can access them on that website. So please feel free to access those on the website. And then we also have a webinar coming up on December 14th called Optimizing Production Schedules in Job Shop Environments. We'll send all of this information out to you, as well as the recording of this webinar in the very near future. And then, of course, we encourage you to reach out to MGA and EGI to talk about those additional analysis, the financial and operational analysis, and then talk to us about implementation projects that you can leverage to advance your facility for Industry 4.0 technologies. So I am going to pause here for a second, and we do have a few questions that I want to dive into. But if you have questions that have surfaced over your time with us this afternoon, please feel free to include them, and we will certainly get to them. So my first question is for Betsy, and I visited a manufacturer with MMTC. It seems like yesterday, but I think it was probably three months ago. Will you help the manufacturers that are engaged right now understand what that process looks like? If a manufacturer is interested in a technology opportunity assessment, what can they expect? They call Betsy up, they schedule an appointment, and then what?
Yes. Well, first of all, and remember too, just like all these assessments, there's no fee, there is no cost to the assessment. This is all covered. So, but really what you can expect is there are 2 steps. We'll send you what we call our transformational planner, and that's 40 questions. Those are 40 targeted questions that ask questions about your business. They focus in on questions such as, where do you want to see your growth? It looks at financial numbers. Everything is very confidential. Once we get that information, then we come on site and we really do a walkthrough with you and sort of see where you are. What are your goals? Where do you think technology could help you? But then we're also walking through and really just sort of seeing where we see the opportunities could be. Then we come back with a report that is very, very useful to you, because again, it brings out and highlights where you could use technology, what kind of processes. It also brings out things that maybe technology is not even the solution. Maybe it's just something up. It could be a layout of your facility. So many different things. So it's just starting that conversation. Again, it's just a commitment to answer the questions ahead of time. We come on site and we start a conversation really based around where your needs are and where you are. So thank you, Jen.
And then, John, how are some manufacturers navigating the perception that new technologies are taking jobs away from the community?
Well, that perception is probably less now than it has been over the last few decades, where we used to see during Industry 3.0, people would institute or implement robotics, and that would eliminate jobs right there and then. What we're finding out now is that just about every Michigan manufacturer is lacking for good quality employees right now. And so what we're hoping to have the message be is that by implementing some of these new technologies, you'll be able to repurpose your employees and have them do jobs that are more efficiently using their skills. Even in talking with the pilot companies that we've been working with, they're happy to see that they can take people off of certain mundane tasks and let this machine do that work for them. So it hasn't been that much of an issue these days because everyone is in such dire need of quality, well-skilled help. So we haven't encountered that much. I'm not sure if the MMTC has a different point of view on that.
No, I think you're right on, John. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one example that we have seen in Southwest Michigan with the manufacturer engaged in the Industry 4.0 is the heavy lifting of product from one end of the facility to the next, bringing in autonomous intelligence to replace that heavy lifting. The workforce is obviously still needed, but now that manual labor of walking that product from one end of the facility to the next is now minimized.
Correct. And we've always heard we've got several members that are what we call integrator companies. So when you decide to, say, buy a robotic system from a brand name like an ABB or a Fanuc, you're buying their machinery, but you end up hiring a company that will be the integrating company. They're the ones that come in and install it, and they'll sit with you as your work staff learns how to work these things. And what they always talk about with robots is that the first decision to put in one of these systems on a shop floor is an executive decision. It's a C-suite decision to put that in there. Just about every use of a robotic system after that is driven by the shop floor. It's by having your employees come and say, you know what else really stinks about my job is when I have to do this. Can I get the robot to do that for me? And then that's what all these next steps are for this. And so they end up really enhancing it. Once you get past that initial fear or unease about working alongside these systems, once you get past that, the workers are really the ones that drive the next step of innovation. We found that with our Project Diamond platform too, where everyone that got one of the 3D printers that were granted in that program, they initially put it way back in their machine shop or somewhere further away. And then the smarter companies ended up moving it out into a more common area because they wanted to start seeing all the employees say, well, let's see what I can do with this machine and how can I make my job easier and the output for my company better. And so people are starting to get more familiar with them. And what we're finding from the companies is that the people on your floor are smarter than you might think. And it really helps when you go through these different assessments. You'll be able to identify who your leaders are and where they're coming from. And you get a good feeling for the technological skill level of your employees. So the outcomes are really great.
Natalie, this next question is for you, and I just have just a few more questions. So talent is one of the biggest needs right now for small business and certainly manufacturers. Will you share what the state is doing alongside Industry 4.0 to support the reskilling of the workforce?
Absolutely. That is something, that here in Michigan, obviously Governor Whitmer has made that a top priority of her administration, really with the statewide goal to increase the number of Michiganders with post-secondary credentials to 60% by 2030. And this is really going to help the talent infrastructure that we already have in the state and really provide companies with that kind of confidence that Michigan has the workforce that they need. And then through programs like the Michigan Reconnect program, so that's really a workforce development initiative that creates a tuition-free pathway for Michigan manufacturers to receive, industry certifications or associate degrees that they can get that training and that education that they need to really help anticipate, the needs of the future and the skills gaps that exist right now in our talent pipeline and prepare us for Industry 4.0.
Thank you, Natalie. And then Stephanie, do manufacturers need to attend the webinars in order to access the implementation grants?
So while we would highly recommend that the manufacturers watch the videos or the webinars so that they can learn more about what is available and through the all the different technologies across Industry 4.0, it is not necessarily a requirement to do that. We just would recommend it.
Okay. I don't see any additional questions, so I'll close out for today. Just thank you again for being part of the informational session. We hope it was insightful to you, understanding statewide and regional resources to advance Industry 4.0 within your region, within your facility. Again, this recording and the slide deck will be sent out to you probably within the next 24 hours, so you have access to it and you can share the information amongst your team. Again, we encourage you to take one of the next steps that we identified earlier in the presentation. Any of the partners on the call are ready, willing, eager to support small manufacturers, including yourself. So please select one of the partners and just start having dialogue with us on how we can support you moving your facility forward. So again, another thank you for the presenters today. Appreciate all of you taking the time to share your knowledge and tools and resources.